Tonight, we are going back to a time when the biggest luxury in the house was a second egg. The most exciting appliance was a pressure cooker. Ines, we are expected to look glamorous in. We are talking about the daily routine of a 1960s housewife. Not the soft-focused version from the commercials, where she glides across a gleaming kitchen in pearls and a shirtwaist dress. The real version, the one where she was up before everyone else. Where she glides across a gleaming kitchen, in pearls and a shirtwaist dress. The real version. Congratulations! You have just woken up in 1962. It is 6:15 in the morning. The house is quiet, and you are already behind. Your husband is still asleep. The children are still asleep. The dog, if you have one, is still asleep. You, however, are already swinging your legs off the mattress and reaching for your housecoat. The kitchen is yours for now. This is the closest thing to solitude that your day will offer, and it lasts approximately 4 minutes. You fill the percolator, measure the coffee, and set it on the burner. The flame catches. The coffee begins its slow negotiation with the water. You stand at the counter in the gray morning light. And for just a moment, before the noise starts, before the day officially begins its demands, there is quiet. Modern people pay significant amounts of money to recreate this experience. You have the percolator and the gray light, and 30 seconds of standing still. And then it ends because the bacon is not going to fry itself. Breakfast in a 1960s household was not optional, not abbreviated, and definitely not a granola bar eaten over a sink. It was a full production. Eggs were scrambled or fried. Bacon or sausage went into a cast iron pan. Toast was made in a toaster that launched it at the ceiling. If you were not paying attention, orange juice was squeezed or mixed from frozen concentrate. Coffee was percolated on the stovetop, and if it was weak, that was a personal failure. All of this happened simultaneously in a kitchen roughly the size of a modern walk-in closet, before 7:30 in the morning, before anyone had said thank you. By 7:20, the plates are filled. The juice is poured. The toast is buttered with the butter you forgot to take out last night. The family assembles the selective gratitude of people who have never cooked anything. Your husband reads the paper. The food disappears. Nobody says it was good, because it being good was not a surprise. It was the expectation. You refill the coffee. You sit down last. By the time you have eaten half of your eggs, once breakfast was made and partially eaten by people who did not appreciate it, the children needed to be rendered presentable for the outside world. Hair combed, for girls, tied back or curled, clothes ironed, lunches packed into metal boxes with thermoses of soup or milk, permission slips located, signed, and placed into the correct bag. She, Tay. By 10 or 10:30, depending on what the morning had required, the housecoat came off. Hair was set, combed, sprayed. The dress went on. Shoes, not heels necessarily, but shoes with some structure. Lipstick, because lipstick was simply what you wore if you were a woman who was going to be seen by anyone, including the grocery store checkout clerk, including the pediatrician's receptionist, including your own neighbor at the back fence. The housecoat was the uniform that said, Inas. Ines. Mid-morning was the window when a neighbor could appear at the back door, with or without a specific reason, and be received without apology. The back door was more intimate than the front door. Front door arrivals were formal. A delivery, a stranger, a neighbor you were not yet on backdoor terms with. Backdoor arrivals meant something had been established between you. The coffee was offered before the visitor fully sat down, because offering it before they sat was hospitality, and waiting until they asked was something else. The conversation covered the children, the husbands, the neighborhood. Whose child had done what at school? What was happening with the house on the corner? And then the dinner hour was coming. Dinner was not assembled. Dinner was produced. A pot roast taken from the oven at the right minute. Mashed potatoes whipped by hand. A vegetable, usually overcooked by modern standards, but correct by the standards of the era. Bread, sometimes a roll. Sometimes a slice of white sandwich, bread from a package. A salad, which in 1962 often meant lettuce and a wedge of tomato and a bottle of dressing. And dessert, which was expected, and which appeared, and which was consumed. All of it timed so that the meal landed on the table at 6 of the clock. When someone walked through the door expecting to be thanked for it, the family sat. The food was served. You sat down last, and you ate fastest, because you were already tracking the dishes that would need to be done, the homework that would need to be supervised, the bath that would need to be given, the lunch that would need to be packed. For tomorrow, the conversation at the table was not yours to lead. You kept the children's glasses filled, you passed the bread, you watched the plates empty, and felt, perhaps, a small private satisfaction that the production had held together for one more night. And then you stood up, and the second half of your day began. The dishes alone took 45 minutes. Pots scrubbed, pans soaked, the cast iron wiped with oil and put away. The dish towel hung to dry rather than left in a heap, because leaving it in a heap was how mildew started. When every surface was wiped, every dish returned to its shelf, the sink clean and empty, you turned off the kitchen light. Ines, though nothing had happened in it all day. As though the 14-hour production that had used every surface and every pan and every burner had simply not occurred. This was, depending on how you looked at it, either the ideal outcome or a very particular cut. Homework was supervised. Arguments between siblings were mediated. Baths were given. Children were put to bed with the diplomatic patience of someone who had been doing this for years. Built and maintained by hands that were never seen doing the building. That was the job. And she did it. She did all of it.